Welcome to Self-Publishing with Ally from the Alliance of Independent Authors. This week, it's our member Q&A, where Ally members have their most pressing publishing questions analyzed and answered. And here are your hosts, Michael Ronn and Sacha Black.
Hello, and welcome to Self-Publishing with Ally. This is the member Q&A podcast, and we are here to answer your most burning self-publishing questions. My name is Michael Ronn, and I'm joined by Sacha Black. What's up, Sacha?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm hanging in there. It is beautiful outside. Well, actually, we're not supposed to talk about the weather, so I'll leave it to your imagination what it looks like outside. But it probably looks outside what you think it looks like outside, and I'm just going to not make this too awkward anymore and flip it over to you. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. I can talk about the weather because I live in England and it's always bloody raining. So, you know, I'm just going to be a cliche.
What time of year it is,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's just going to be raining. No, I say that. It's not that bad in the UK. But we are being a cliche today. I will say that. But how are things your end other than the weather?
Yeah, pretty good. I went on a family vacation to Central America. So that was fun. We were there for 2 weeks, and I was in the mountains, on the beach, all over, different climates. I was in the jungle for a couple of days. So came back super relaxed.
That's amazing. Which country was this?
Yeah, I went to Guatemala.
Wow. That's
that
incredible.
was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, and it was good food, and we stayed at some pretty cool hotels, and yeah, overall it was a lot of fun, and definitely would go back.
Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, well, you got to have a vacation every once in a while. And the cool thing about this, okay, so this is what makes it, I guess, more writing focused, is I actually did not take my phone. So I was completely off the grid. And well, actually, I take that back. I took my old 10-year-old iPhone 6. So I did it just for, to have just in case I needed it, but I really didn't use it. And the moment I got off the plane, I booted up the phone and I found out that I was locked out of my Google account. So I couldn't access any of my, so basically I might as well have not even brought it. So I didn't have a phone at all. Didn't have any access to technology or
How did you feel at the end of that? Were you super grounded, super calm and peaceful?
Oh, I felt amazing. Yeah. It was crazy because I also took 8 paperback books and I read all of them. Mm-hmm. I literally got through all 8 books, and I got back and I'm like, you know what? I need to make some changes.
Yeah.
In terms of my relationship with technology. I didn't need it.
I totally agree. So we, when we go away on our last family vacation, I read 17 books in 14 days. And I pretty much do that every single year when we go on our family vacay. But I do take my phone, but I just hold my Kindle. That's the only thing I do. And I come back so refreshed. And so and it's just, you're so much more present and in the moment. And yeah, I don't know, technology is incredible, but there is also something about that disconnect that I think is really healthy for creatives as well.
Yeah. And I feel like I swung to the complete opposite pole over the last maybe 10 years. So I used to be like a book person. I mean, like a physical book person. I mean, I had, like a lot of people, way too many books, giant TBR. I wasn't able to get through all the books on my shelf. And it was kind of a problem with my wife, because I was always buying books. And so I switched over to Kindle and ebooks and audio. And I kind of went full bore into that. I typically only read ebooks and audio and listen to audiobooks. And I really haven't bought a paperback in a long time. And maybe realize how much I missed physical books.
So for listeners rather than viewers, both Michael and I wear glasses. And so we are of a certain age. I'm going to give it away. Yeah, I'm going to give it away. But I much prefer a physical book. Much prefer. And I am really struggling with physical books. I don't know if it's me, but I feel like the font and the print in physical books is getting smaller. And that is why I have diverted to Kindle in the last year, because up until the last year, I was physical only. I would only read physical books. Out of the 103 books I've read this year, 6 are physical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I just can't,
Yeah.
I'm like this. And then it becomes like, I get a headache because the print is so small. You know, some of them are ridiculous. I was in a bookstore the other day and I was like, they have to be having a laugh. Like, this can't be real. Like, this can't actually be the font that they've printed it in, you know?
Yeah, you need a microscope to read the book. But I'll tell you something that was a game changer for me. And I know this sounds really silly and some people are going to laugh at me, but I'm telling you, it made a difference, is a book light.
Interesting.
Go to the thrift store. You guys have thrift stores in the UK, right?
We
Just
call
go to
them
the thrift
pound
store.
stores, but yeah.
Oh, pound stores. Okay, yeah. Go to the pound store. I got a little book light for $3. And, huge game changer. The only thing I have to do is put batteries in it, but it made such a difference, like especially at night. It's like, how did I ever live without this?
So my version of that is I have this arm that I put my Kindle in, and then it hovers above my bed. And then I have like a Bluetooth clicker. So I don't even have to have my arms out.
Nice.
Out of the duvet. I just like sit there reading and like with the clicker. I can't, it broke the other day and I really hope I get gifted one at some point this year because I can't live without it.
Throw a tantrum if you don't get it for Christmas. Where's my arm?
Exactly. Anyway, we should answer some questions.
We probably should. So we said last month, or the last time we were with you, everybody, that we were going to answer business focused questions. So that is our focus today. I can't promise that all of the questions will be 100% business because we do have a queue and we do want to try to get to everyone's questions as soon as possible. But what we have done is prioritized the business questions for today's show. And we will announce a theme at the end of this show for our next show as well. So the theme today is business. And I also thought it might be kind of cool once we get to the bottom of our queue, Sacha, if you're good with it, is for each of us to share like a success in our business that we think people could listen to and learn from, and then also a failure within this past year. So something that was a success and a failure. It's just something to think about as we answer our questions. Okay, the first question is from Matt, and Matt says, I want to create a monthly newsletter and have decided how I'd like to set it up. UK laws requires newsletters to include a full postal address. For personal reasons, I don't want to use my home address, so I've looked into getting a PO box. The cost is $45 a month, which is more than I can afford. What do other authors use for their UK postal addresses? Yeah,
so I came across this same problem when I was starting up. This is down to keywords, to be perfectly honest. Postal boxes in the UK are extremely expensive. However, you don't have to use a PO box as such. So there are things like ghost mail, virtual mail. Try keywords like that. So I use one that I think is about £120 a year. And then I top up with credit. So literally you put £20 on with credit, and unless somebody sends you physical mail, that credit just stays there forever. And then you pay like the annual fee. I had another one that was a ghost mail system, and I think that was even less. I think that was about £60 a year. But the reason that I upped it was because I also have my business registered at that address. So sometimes if you just want the virtual mail, then you can have that for cheaper. And then if you want to register your business there as well, because obviously in the UK, your address is searchable, then it's slightly more money. But there are definitely other solutions, but you just need to change the words that you're using to search. Or you know, if you don't mind using ChatGPT, give it this problem and just say, look, I don't want to pay PO box prices, but is there a virtual mail system, like a virtual office? That's like another key phrase. Digital mail, ghost mail. I think there was actually a company called Ghost Mail. So I would Google those.
Yeah, those are all good suggestions. Here in the States, I don't know if they they exist internationally, but UPS has they're called UPS stores. And the cool thing about UPS stores as opposed to a PO box is they give you a street address. So you get a PO box, but it has a street address number, which satisfies, here we also have a requirement in some states, if you have an LLC, that you have to give an address. So it satisfies Secretary of State's, requirement that you have to have a physical address instead of a PO box. But the virtual mail thing works. I know there are a lot of expats that use services like that as well so that they can get mail. And I think some of those services, they'll get your mail and then scan it.
Mm-hmm.
So you
That's
actually
what mine
get like
does.
a PDF of all your mail, which is really cool.
Yeah, I don't get anything physical unless it looks obvious, like it's a card or a parcel or something. Anything that, so any government documents that come to they scan them in, email it as a PDF, and then they destroy the original.
Yeah, which gives you, it gives you some security, but it also exposes you a little bit. Like you got to go with a company that you trust, right? So
yes, absolutely.
In a perfect world, you'd want to, if you go with a company that protects your privacy, then you protect your privacy, right? So yeah, there's actually, if you watch YouTube, there are a ton of reviews on services like that too. So you could probably find one on the UK. I remember going down the privacy cybersecurity rabbit hole, and I saw tons of videos on those very services. So that is good advice. Okay, next question is from WW. And this question, okay, so we usually don't talk about timelines on this show just because, we record and then sometimes it takes a minute for our shows to go live. But I will break frame here. This is a question that was asked during the government shutdown here in the United States in late 2025. And so WW asks, I am preparing to publish my first book and have requested a Library of Congress control number. It appears that no new numbers will be issued during the shutdown. I assume I must have this prior to publication since it will show up in the printed version. Or can I provide it later and make revisions after the fact? Yeah, this is a really good question. So when the government shut down, or I should say shuts down, because it's going to happen again here, unfortunately, just due to the nature of our government right now. But when the government shuts down, there are a lot of things that unfortunately stop or get delayed. And Library of Congress was one of those. I also had heard that copyright registrations might have been on hold for a little bit as well. So fortunately, the government is back open, and WW, we're hoping that you were able to get your number. But to answer your question, just in case this happens again, and something to think about for other folks, is if you can't get a Library of Congress control number, that should not hold up the publication of your book. I would publish the book, and when you get the control number, just go in and revise it. To my knowledge, there's no field or no requirement that says you have to have this. Well, in fact, I know you don't have to have it, but you can publish without it. And I don't think that there's a bridge too far. You can always go back in and update it. That's what I would do. And honestly, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. Okay. And our next question is from Daniele. Are there PR and media service outreach companies that promote books in Europe?
So Europe, I don't know about Europe specific, but there are a ton of companies that do. And what about things like, do they mean like book box companies and stuff like that? Because their PR took a whatever.
I think it's just general. Yeah, just in general. Any sort of marketing service companies that specialize in Europe.
Mm. Okay.
I'm not aware of any myself.
No.
I would start with our service ratings directory, which you can find at selfpublishingadvice.org/ratings, and just see. You can also pop into our member forum if you're a member and ask around and see if anybody knows. But, I think it just ultimately boils down to the thing that we talk about all the time on this show. And I think you could probably take a shot every time we say it. And that is that, how do you know if the marketing they're going to do is going to work? You know,
Yeah.
how do you know? And the answer is you don't. And the answer is that nobody really knows when it comes to that sort of thing, you know? So I think you just have to be careful about how you're spending your money. And I just think that you could be spending your money elsewhere, and you could probably get a bigger bang for your buck doing the work and understanding your market and doing it yourself.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I do think there are some companies that do PR related things. So maybe adjacent things like the book tours that do have some very, very good results. But I think you have to do your research. You have to know the market. You have to know the companies. You have to have seen their results.
Right.
But I don't know that I've got anything to add, because I definitely don't know any specific European companies. I know companies, my cat. I know specific companies that do like bookish, PR-y type, social media marketing, but their, what is the right word? Clients, their social media people are all over the world. And you sort of agree, but they don't necessarily specify in Europe.
Yeah, correct. Well, everything is so global now that, especially if you're with social media, that maybe you don't need somewhere that is, that specializes in Europe per se, but who knows?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is from Dharma. And Dharma says that I'm an author in the US and I now narrate my own audiobooks. I just filed for copyright registration for the text of my upcoming novel. Should I also file for the performance rights of the audiobook since I'm narrating and producing it?
That sounds like a new question.
Yeah. That is a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked that. And honestly, I don't know that I've ever considered that. Yeah, we talk all the time about registering the text of your text here in the United States for copyright registration. We talk all the time about that. No one's ever asked if you should if you should file a copyright registration for the audiobook.
So does that mean you'd also have to file for special editions?
Well, if you follow the logic. Actually, no. Special editions, no, because the text would be the same, right? It's just that you have like a specialized hardcover, right? And unless there's something unique in that special edition that you want to register, like extended chapters or that sort of thing. You can. The short answer. While I'm tap dancing here, I'm on the copyright registration website. The short answer is you can, and asterisk should register anything and everything that you write as a writer. Now, the answer is whether you should do that. I mean, do you really want to go through a copyright registration to register a couple of extra chapters or some bonus content? Mm-hmm. Probably not, because you do have to pay every time you do this. So this is expensive. And the more you file things related to a certain work, sometimes you can confuse the copyright attorneys in the office. So you kind of have to be a little careful sometimes. I ran into that personally. But I'm on the website. I'm just kind of looking. I'm trying to find. This is what happens when I multitask. Okay, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if traditional publishers do this. So I don't. So my gut is telling me, Dharma, that I don't think it hurts to do that. To register. So if you record an audiobook, I don't think it hurts to register the recording of your audiobook. But I think ultimately you have to be thinking about. One, why do you want to register the recording? Because because ultimately copyright registration exists for a couple of reasons. It's one so that you can show ownership of the work in case there's any sort of copyright infringement. But two, you register your copyright so that you have the ability to sue somebody if they infringe on your copyright. So I I don't think it's customary. I don't think this is in the. I don't think most authors are registering the copyrights to their audio recording. So I'm looking up a few big name authors right now, and their audiobooks are registered. So this is something that you can do if you want. But again, why do you want to register it? I think is the question. With all the AI stuff going on, I kind of have to couch my answer and say, it might not be a bad idea, especially if you're the narrator, to protect your work in case there happens to be a class action settlement at some point, where that involves narrators or self-published books. Probably not a bad idea. So if you had the disposable income and you're wanting to do it, it might not be a bad idea. But yes, the answer is yes, you can. It's a matter of whether you should. But traditional publishers do this all the time. Right now, this is relatively unheard of in the self-publishing space. Any thoughts on my ramblings there, Sacha?
No, I mean, my mind was drifting off on tangents, thinking about, licensing your voice, training your voice, and all things like that. And I wondered whether or not if one decided to license their voice later down the line, whether that would then cause a conflict with any pre-registered audio that they'd narrated. I don't know. I find it very interesting. I don't think I have an answer. I think it depends where your risk tolerance is and what you want to protect. Do you want to protect the integrity of the story as yours, or is it your voice you're trying to protect? That would probably drive my decision.
Well, okay. So my answer is that registering is always a smart decision. If you have the time and you have the money, registering your copyright in the United States, assuming you're a citizen, most people outside the United States don't generally need to register. But if you're doing a lot of business here, maybe you do. But for U.S. citizens, it is always a smart idea to do it. And the reason it's a smart idea is just look at the Anthropic settlement and look at how many self-published writers whose books were taken and used in the development of Claude, right? And how much bigger that settlement would have been if all of us had registered every single one of our books. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about that. There are a lot of people who are kicking themselves right now. And because this was out of sight, out of mind for a long time. The general advice up until a few years ago was register your works if you can, but you don't have to. I think now you have to register your works. It's not optional. So we've seen what happened with the Anthropic settlement, right? Where a lot of people could get some money. So a lot of people got a lot of money. A lot of people didn't get much at all, if anything. This could come back around for audiobooks. History tends to repeat itself, but it tends to rhyme, right? So I think Dharma's thinking about this in the right way. I think it's ultimately about protecting yourself, protecting your voice, and also protecting. It's about protecting all of the above, honestly. So if you can, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just, does it make sense? Does it make sense for you? Okay. Next question is from Joe. And Joe says, I'm getting ready to self-publish. The manuscript is complete and the cover art is done. I'm looking for a print-on-demand publisher. Do you recommend any particular publisher? And what are some questions I should ask during the vetting process?
I think there are only a handful of pretty standard print-on-demand. Like, I feel like those questions go to short-run printers, not necessarily print on demand, because print on demand is an established system. There's nothing really for you to ask other than, do the prices vary? What royalty split is there? What do they take? What do, just understanding what actual percent of your sale money are you going to get? That's probably the main question that I would ask. But in terms of print on demand, basically you hand them the digital file and then they print the books and they either send them to you or they ship them direct to the customer, depending on what your setup is. So the main ones are, in no particular order, Book Vault, Ingram Spark, Lulu. Are there any I've missed? Obviously KDP Print,
Right.
but that's kind of integrated inside the Amazon Dash. I think they're probably the main ones. I'm not sure there is anything to ask in particular because, for all the reasons that I said, if you were going to do a short print run, then there are a ton of questions that you can ask. What's your economies of scale? What finishes do you have? What can you do spot UV? Can you do embossing? What's the print, the shipping cost? Do you deliver on pallets? Do you, can you print and store the books and send them to me in small quantities? That's the sort of thing that Clays do. They'll do a print run and then they'll hold books for you and ship them off, so that there's a whole other conversation with a lot of different questions if you're going to do offset printing. If you're doing print on demand, it's a very established system. Most of it is out of your hands. You just basically need to know how much money are you getting per sale.
Yeah, and then there's a few levers you can pull in terms of what you want your book to look like. It's not very many, and that's
grams of paper, cream, white, size of the book, those kinds of things. But
you're fairly limited, and you're pretty boxed in with print on demand. But I love everything you said. I would go one step further to say, you must publish your paperback with KDP Print and Ingram at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the reality of being able to be competitive. Now, Book Vault and Lulu both offer some really attractive features that KDP and Ingram do not. Like, for example, Lulu has the wire-bound books that look really good, and they've got a couple of other things. And Book Vault has a ton of different options that people use for Kickstarters, and
they have the
like
wire-bound as well.
They've got wire-bound, and they've got. I mean, just look at your books. I mean, they just look gorgeous in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different ways that you can treat them. But Ingram and Amazon, that's how you're going to be able to get your book into the global distribution cycle. Amazon is its own ecosystem. Ingram is obviously the biggest book distributor in the world, and everyone who's everyone has the ability to order from Ingram. So if you want the ability for bookstores to order your book, doesn't mean you'll be able to get into bookstores, but if you want them to be able to order your books, then you need to be in Ingram as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question is from Rick. And the question is, how do I market middle grade books with websites, emails, newsletters, while also considering various laws around, children and content?
You don't market to children, you market to their parents is probably the first thing that I would say to you. Your audience, your readers might be children, your audience is parents. So I would say that, you want to think about how you can make life easier for parents, why parents would want to read the books that you write to their children. What are the benefits? Can you bundle and give them a discount? Can you do special things for Christmas, make their lives easier? Could you do a birthday discount? I don't know. But there are lots of things around that. But certainly your audience is actually parents for things like emails. That this very rare. Kids are really in their teens by the time they start getting email addresses. The other thing that I would say is we have a book. I can't remember the exact title. Don't we have a book on publishing children?
Yes, it's by Karen Inglis.
Yeah, and Karen also has her own version of that. I can't remember exactly the title. But it's very good. So Karen Inglis, I'd have a look for that online, both the Ally version and her own book.
Yes. And, I almost had it. Keep going. Oh, here we go. Okay. Self-publishing children and YA books.
There you go.
Ally's Guide to Kidlit Publishing for Authors, and that is by Karen Inglis. And just FYI that you can grab that book. If you're an Ally member, you get it for free just by logging into your dashboard, and you can download it. But if you're not an Ally member, we have launched our self-publishing store, and you can purchase it on our store, and the proceeds directly benefit Ally. And you can find that at selfpublishingstore.com. So that is very easy link to remember.
Excellent. Love it.
Okay. Next question is from Sue, who is having some problems with Ingram. Sounds like some books were ordered, they didn't get sent, and the ones that got sent had problems. What do you do when you have Ingram Spark issues?
Their contact desk over the years has had its ups and downs, I would say, but that's probably the first place that I would go, is to use their contact desk. Be very, very clear and specific with what you're saying, because there's lots of people that monitor it. So you need to make sure that you have comprehensive information in each email, because they don't necessarily always get all of the history and context of those emails. So I don't know that there's anything else that you can do other than...
Yeah, I would say if you're having a ton of trouble, I mean, I would definitely reach out to the contact desk at Ingram. Be persistent, and they have their challenges just like any other company in terms of responses. So, but if you're not getting a response in a timely manner, or you're having some trouble, certainly you're able to contact us at Ally if you're a member, and we may be able to intervene and at least try to help you in any way that we can.
Some countries have a phone number as well. Not all of the Ingram countries do. So I would have a little Google for that. Sometimes you can find a phone number to actually speak to a human and get it resolved a little bit quicker. So yeah, I think like any company, it depends which responder you get, like who it is that's responding to you. Sometimes they're brilliant. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're less brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. So Sacha, I thought we would wrap up by talking about some
I love
personal
it.
stories.
I love it, but I have a question first. I have a question, a business question. DRM.
Okay.
Yes, DRM. In light of the new changes, are you aware of the new changes?
Why don't you talk about them?
So I'm not entirely sure, because in typical Sacha fashion, I haven't actually read the article. But basically, Amazon is enabling readers, if DRM is not applied, to be able to fully download the EPUB. I think.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
I did hear. I saw some rumblings around that on the internet.
This feels like a business discussion.
Yes, it is a business. Okay. So, can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. I'm dying to know what you think.
Yeah, okay. So, I saw it, and then I just went off and did my dishes, and I didn't think about it again.
Yeah.
I guess maybe subconsciously on some gut level, it's really not that big of a deal. Kobo has allowed this for a long time. In fact, I'm just going to say it. One of the reasons I buy books on Kobo is because I can actually download them and put them on I have a books reading tablet, so I don't have a Kindle anymore. I have a third-party reading tablet, and I'm able to download and put the books onto that tablet. And I really like that. That's really convenient for me. I think it's a win for readers. Yes, I know there's going to be some consternation around authors and their books being pirated, but I still think that piracy is the least of the issues that we have to deal with as authors today. And I still believe that even if your books are pirated, that there is another ecosystem out there, and that can bring in fans into your ecosystem. So honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I actually think it's a good thing. Maybe that's a hot take.
No, that's fine. I really felt like it was a timely thing that we should mention, especially because this was a business topic. But now we can go to the lessons learned.
Okay. Well, what do you think about it?
I didn't know. So we had to upload a document. We had to upload a paperback and an ebook with typo changes yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it flashed up and I was like, oh, yeah, I'd seen that and then like ignored it and continued because it wasn't an issue. And then yesterday the team were like, do we proceed? And I was like, I don't actually know. I have to go find some information about it. But yeah, I think you're right. It's like piracy. I just ignore it. Like, what's it going to do? It's not stopping me making money. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, there are still some things that remain true. That DRM is still a bad idea. Right? I mean, I still don't think, this is not going to get me to change my books over to DRM. I mean, one, DRM really does not work. It is a deterrent for the people who don't understand how technology works. Like if you just go on YouTube and type in break DRM of an ebook, you'll see just how easy it is to do and just how quickly someone can do it if they're motivated. So I don't know. I think we have bigger fish to fry personally.
Excellent.
Okay. So why don't we start by talking about what's one success? Like what's one thing you did this year that made a big difference in your business? And it could be sales, it could be the operational efficiency, it could be anything, honestly. But just one thing that you're really proud of that you would call a success.
I opened a warehouse that is now too small. We need a bigger one. So I would say that, and there's just no getting around that. It's made a huge difference. I think the store is about to break £250,000 this year. So there's just no getting around that. It's changed my life. It's been incredible. And in terms of the things that I think have succeeded, it's probably threefold there. The first one is that I have books that you can only buy on my website from the warehouse. So I don't put them on Amazon. I don't put them anywhere. So there is that exclusivity factor.
Mm-hmm.
I've signed 14,000 books this year because every single book that leaves that warehouse is signed by me. We give goodies like character art and, bookmarks and things like that away. And then last but by no means least, if you pre-order direct, I will ship them before it goes live on the big main stores like Amazon and Kobo, etc. So those 4 things, I think, are the reason that it has succeeded so well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember when, I forget it was earlier this year. We were recording, and I'm like, "Oh, you're in a new place, new setting," and you're like, "Yeah, I bought a warehouse."
Yeah. No, rented, thank God, because otherwise I'd be having to sell it now. But I just toured one that's twice the size, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so good." So I have to make the decision about that fairly soon. That was wild. How about you? What's your?
Yeah, I got a new mentor this year, and that was helpful for me just mentally. I've just had a lot. I don't have to tell you. I've just had a lot going on in my life that it's been really helpful for me to stop doing a lot of things. And so I think my big success this year is that I've just stopped doing a lot of stuff that I just don't need to do, and it hasn't made a difference at all. Well, it's made a huge difference, but I'm saying it didn't make a difference at all in terms of the health and vitality of the business, which is good.
Yeah.
And so for next year, I'm really focusing on scaling. And so this has been kind of a quiet year for me. I've only published a couple of books, and that was by design. It was just, I've been go for so many years that I've needed to take a step back and relax and just kind of focus on my mental health and just kind of focus on just getting a little bit more grounded and centered. And honestly, that has been my biggest success this year.
I love that.
So, okay. So now let's talk about failures. What is something that you've done this year that you wish you hadn't done, or that taught you that taught you something?
So the only thing that kind of springs to mind for me is the fact that the one goal that I had this year, which was to get ahead of publication, I failed on. I have not got ahead of publication. And that is because of all the other choices that I made. So in a strange way, opening the warehouse is both my biggest success and my biggest failure, because that is the reason that I didn't hit my writing goals. So this is the lowest word count year I've had in probably 5 years. I think the pandemic years were probably the worst. But I haven't even hit 200,000 words, which is really frustrating for me. So I think it's taught me quite a lot about, I don't even want to say priorities, because I did try and prioritize it, but I made decisions that had consequences. The decision to open a warehouse was a huge consequence. Like, there were huge consequences to that in terms of I didn't have the team infrastructure in place in order to protect my time from that. Whereas I do have that in place. But if we move warehouse, I will need to expand that. So I think that's probably a lesson that I am bearing in mind going into next year, because next year, like, strangely, I am literally only having one goal, which is to get ahead of publication. That's it. I'm not allowing myself any other goals. That's it. So yeah, I think I have learned that if I choose to do big projects, the words suffer.
Yeah. No, I think that's relatable in a lot of ways. You know, I mean, there are a ton of people that, you know, start new jobs, or they go through life changes or life roles, and, you know, they find themselves in a very similar situation, you know?
I think it's also interesting because, you know, a bit like what you were saying, I put so much pressure on myself to, you know, release a certain number of books and things. And this is like the lowest number of releases. And it's actually my highest financial year ever.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
I know. It's wild. Like, I don't really understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. I've had years where my productivity was lower, but the income was higher. And maybe that, you know, in some ways that's just the universe's way of telling you, like, it's okay to slow down and focus on other things sometimes. But you know, you can't do it forever.
No, exactly.
You have
put my foot down again next year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'd say one of my failures this year was consistency. So, like I mentioned, that it was a really good thing for me to kind of focus on just kind of chilling and just kind of being, but also, like, my consistency took a bit of a hit. So, you know, my newsletters for the most part got out on time, but the writing was kind of inconsistent for me this year, which is very out of character for me. Very, very out of character. And so I would say that was probably my biggest thing. And ironically, though, like, I actually had a lot of things that were published this year. Like, I was in probably, I think, 3 issues of Writer's Digest. And, you know, I had several short stories that were published. So, you know, it was good in that regard, but consistency, like in terms of showing up every day, writing, getting words down, come hell or high water, really wasn't a priority for me this year. And that's okay, but definitely was, from a business perspective, something I have to correct next year.
Yeah, which is interesting to me because I will never be a write every day person ever. Like, I can't think of anything worse than having to write like every day. But I'm very much a vomiter. Like, I probably think about my story every single day, but I don't put words down every single day, because I, like, once I light the match on that story, that is all that exists. And I just run to the end of that story. So, but then it's existed and, you know, gone round and round and round and round in my brain for like months and months and months prior to that. But yeah, no, I can't, like, consistency in that way, like, terrified. I think I'd burn out. I actually think I would burn out if I tried to write every day.
Yeah. And I don't write every day, but I write, but generally speaking, when I'm in my normal routine, I write more often than I do not. And for me, that's enough, right?
Yeah.
So like if I try to write every day, but it's just not always possible with my lifestyle. But if I write 4 out of 7 days, that's a victory. Because on those 4 out of 7 days, I'm probably going to churn out, enough words that it would look like I wrote every day. Right. Because I'm dictating and, I'm doing some other things that are helping me with that. So I can produce, fairly decent quality manuscripts quickly, which is a good skill to have. But I don't write every day. But I try to write more often than not. And I find that if I do that, then things usually take care of themselves. But even I wasn't really doing that this year.
Well, you also have to play to your own strengths, right? I bet in the Clifton strengths you have high consistency, whereas that's in my bottom, like probably 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very structured and I'm very disciplined.
Yeah.
Even when I'm not, like even when I have a lot of things going on, or even when I can't get to things every single day, I'm still consistent about how I do it. So on the 4 days where I'm writing, those days look very, very similar. Like I'm getting up early in the morning, taking a walk, meditating, and then I'm writing as much as I can.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole day.
Whereas I'm a chaos demon.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the point here is that it's okay no matter who you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I still think, I think I've talked on this show about it, but I talk on my YouTube channel all the time about how as long as you make your best effort every day, whatever that effort looks like, then the law of numbers always works in your favor. Mm-hmm. So like if you like you, Sacha, if you're a vomiter of words, as long as you vomit consistently or as consistently as you can, right, then you're good. At the end of the year, you'll be in a really good spot.
Yeah. And I usually write at least 3 books a year. So I've done that pretty much from the start. I've consistently written 3 books a year. This is the first year I haven't written 3 books.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I think, you have to take the long view. Like we've been doing this for 12 years, maybe more than that, a little less, more than that. So I don't even remember. I just stopped counting. Mm-hmm. But if I look back on the 12 years that I've been doing this, I've had some amazing years. I've had some years that were not so great. And most of the years kind of fall in the middle. So if I look at the next 12 years, I'm going to have some amazing years. I'm going to have some years that are not so great and some years that are mostly in the middle. Like it's all cyclical. It's not, just because you're having a bad year doesn't mean you're having a bad career. And I have to remind myself of that. Like I think everything is so fast paced and, technology just really makes us focus on the immediacy of the moment that it's really hard to step back and just look at things from a long-term view.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So, okay, well, we are at the bottom of another episode. And why don't we pick a theme for next time?
What about sources of income? What about income for authors?
Income for authors. So
like money and authors.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Money. Okay. So we're going to throw out the theme of money for authors. So send us your money related questions, and you can do that by going to selfpublishingadvice.org. And if you're an ally member, allianceindependentauthors.org. And you can.
The one caveat I'm going to add is that we can't answer tax questions for your individual countries.
Yeah. Your mileage may vary on taxes, but we'll certainly give it the college try on anything else that comes through. So if you're an ally member, go to allianceindependentauthors.org and then log in, and there'll be a link where you can submit your question and you just might hear it on the air. So thank you for listening to Thank you for listening to Self-Publishing with Ally. As an FYI, we do record a couple episodes in advance. So more than likely, it will be the episode after next when we will answer this question. But we'll let you know when we do answer the questions. So I'm Michael Ronn, and this has been Sacha Black. That wasn't awkward at all. See, this is how you have to start and end podcasts. You have to start them awkwardly and end them awkwardly. So we have to be consistent.
Listen, I was going to say at least we're consistent.
See, it goes back to the advice. Got to be consistent. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll talk to you next. Bye.
You've been listening to Self-Publishing with Ally with Michael Ronn and Sacha Black. Our weekly self-publishing advice podcast is produced by the Alliance of Independent Authors. Find more author advice, tips, and tools at our Self-Publishing Advice Center, selfpublishingadvice.org. And if you haven't already, we invite you to join our organization and become a self-publishing ally. You can do that at allianceindependentauthors.org.